Good morning. I'm Julio Saenz along with Mauricio Riveros. Today we'll meet Mary Worboys-Turner, who recently helped start a chapter of Women in Manufacturing for New York State.
We hope you will be inspired.
Celebrating leaders in Rochester's unique and vibrant business community. We'll meet entrepreneurs whose passion and perseverance have helped push through life's challenges. Join us as we share their stories and journeys to success. It's time to be inspired.
Mary, thank you very much to be inspired, a show that we developed to inspire our community to interview interesting people like you. So let's start learning who is Mary.
Who is Mary? I'm a Rochesterian. I was born here. I went out for college and graduate school, and I worked in New Jersey a couple of years, but always came back. It's a great place, and I've been doing things and working in the area for years to help bring us to a better spot and growing. So, and my most recent ventures have been in the area of manufacturing. I had 3 phases so far in my career and my life. And this one is focused on manufacturing because I believe that we really need to focus on creating opportunities for our fellow citizens to have good employment with good potential earnings so that they can support their families and be part of the community. And so with that journey, I started looking at where I could be effective. And I've worked with some businesses, some small local manufacturing businesses, as well as a couple outside of the area. And then I've really become involved in trade associations, and one that's a trade policy organization, that's a national organization, and another one which you asked me about, which is WIM, Women in Manufacturing. And they're a year-round trade organization specifically for women, but men are not excluded. If they want to be part of it, they can, because you guys have to come along with us too. So, and they have about 10,000 members at this point, and about 190 corporations, businesses, manufacturing organizations that are supporting organizations of the group. And what they do is create places of learning where you can learn, and you can have workshops, and you can also network and grow in your leadership or in your manufacturing, and just the sky's the limit, basically, to help women and men also, but really women really thrive in the manufacturing field. So I got involved with them because of actually the trade policy group. We would go to a lobby in the spring in Washington, D.C. And the first couple of years I was part of it, there was maybe one other woman who was a non-spouse, and I have nothing against spouses because I am one and I love being a spouse. But I thought, well, this is a pretty open opportunity for women to become part of this area of our world in the United States. And the last time I was there, which was before COVID, there were several younger women who had come as part of the organization for the meeting and for lobbying. And so I came home and I said, what do you do to help women in the field of manufacturing and thrive? And so I found WIM, Women in Manufacturing. And it was founded 10 years ago in Cleveland, and through a group of women who were in the manufacturing space, and decided that they wanted to create something that would help more than just them. So fast forward, they're all over the country, and there are chapters, single chapters. And when I went to my first conference, there was no New York State chapter. And so there was a group of us that said, well, maybe we should try this. So we met via phone from all over New York State because we know how big New York is, and decided let's see what we can do. So we actually launched at the beginning of COVID. And so we found it was a little bit of a challenge because everybody was struggling. So we relaunched this past January, and it's going very well. We've had a couple of meetings where we call them events, where we come together at this point on Zoom, but that helps because of New York is such a broad, big state. And our first one was sort of get to know you and know about WIM. And we had another second event where we talked about the supply chain, and we had the dean from RIT speak about the supply chain issues. And we're just about to have our next event. Sometimes you do them casual and fun, and other times you do them serious. And we decided this one would be a fun, let's get together and talk. And so we'll talk about what's available for WIM and where we're heading as a chapter, and then break off into little groups to talk, and we'll switch around. And our opening question, which has nothing to do with manufacturing, is what's your favorite costume? Halloween costume. So we get to sort of have a good laugh and find out about people. But this is proving to be a space where people can come and talk and share their experiences and hopefully get good advice get good advice and give good advice to others. So we're in the process of growing that. And because we have a little place in Rhode Island, there's interest there to start a chapter. So I'm going to help them do that. So that's what we're doing. And we're doing whatever we can to help promote manufacturing. And specifically, I think it's important, not that we should not be worldwide, but I think we need to be focused on our own manufacturing here in the United States, because that creates opportunity for our own citizens to be employed again. And there's great jobs, there are good jobs out there, but many of them are service jobs, and they don't create the potential growth and wealth opportunities for people. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
That's fantastic, Mary, and congratulations on starting the helping start the New York chapter of the organization.
Thank you.
So it's a relatively new organization. You said about 2 years since
since we did the chapter. The national chapter is 10 years old.
And so I was wondering, I mean, we think of things being the glass ceiling almost gone, or you see all these women in prominent roles. But, this organization obviously has a very important role. And I was wondering, what are some of the challenges you still hear that women face in the industry?
I would say it's nothing horrible, but it's just a challenge to get men to open up and say, well, let me listen to your ideas and see if they can change, because we're all animals. It doesn't matter if we're female or male, actually. We're all animals of where we are, and we think we're doing the right thing, and it's hard to change. So that is the piece that is, I think, really has been a good challenge. It's still a good challenge, but also moving into leadership roles. That is not something that has been a natural for people, but it is now starting to happen more with women. And I think because there are more women in the field, they have women mentors that can help them, guide them through this. And how do you work with a guy on how do you work with a guy who has their own lingo and their own way about doing things, and to not change who you are, but also bring to the table something that they'll understand. And this is basic communication, really, how that person will understand where you're coming from, and yet you can also learn from them. So it's great human relationships. And how do you cross them?
Really amazing hope and happiness to see an incredible leadership that women are bringing to a very male-dominated industry. Yes. And the results are really incredible. I'm telling you, project managers, project engineers, superintendents, people who are really getting to the field. And I think yes, there is a lot of similarities between industries. So early intervention, how you connect with universities. I think that's one of the fundamental elements, and even high school, to really motivate early on students to go and go in that industry, go to identify manufacturing as an opportunity. I know that in the last years was tough, but I think there's a resurrection of manufacturing in upstate New York and in New York in general, and in other states in the United States. I think COVID has shown us that the need that we have to create more manufacturing and sell capacity to produce our own products. So what is the strategy or in general that your organization had to approach early on high schoolers and students to really tell them about manufacturing industry?
Well, our space is in definition, is being defined right now in that, but the national has really focused on giving opportunity to girls to go in and experience the trades, and go in and talk to schools, to kids in schools, and talk to them about what is out there and what you can do, so that they're starting to, I see what I'm seeing is that we're really starting to introduce the trades and manufacturing again into thinking of kids. And so there's the Manufacturers Association of Central New York is doing a wonderful job with that. And they focus on kids, and they're working, actually doing a program to get kids to try the trades and do internships so they can see what they're like. And so they're ahead of the curve to try it out and see, and let them know that there is a future there, because that's just something we haven't faced, we haven't really dealt with. And so it's really going in and taking what you've got, introducing it, and then giving kids opportunities to try it out. So it's really it. And one of the things that we're looking at is we want to do something that take on an organization or participate in a school where we can promote opportunities for girls to learn about what manufacturing means. And it's not just what we think of as widgets all the time, and that there are many, many opportunities out there. I'll use an example. There's a shoe manufacturing company I met when I was at the conference last month in Ohio, and she was on the floor manufacturing person, and shoes were terrible for women, and so she decided, I'm making shoes that are suitable for the manufacturing floor, but that are more stylish and up to date, that so women can wear them. And then also the fact is that the women might be needing to go into the manufacturing base and then go out into a corporate meeting, and then they would have to change their shoes. And so she was like, I want a shoe that's current in style, that is good for being on the floor, but can go and transfer into a meeting. And so she started this whole business, which is another, and they're using manufacturing themselves. So there's all kinds of wonderful things like that you can do to start off and create your own opportunities. So we want girls to know those things. And so, as I said, we're looking at who we can sponsor, who we can support. And we're going to have a discussion about potentially a charter school that we could potentially get into and get girls to learn more about, what's out there. And maybe we're going to talk about one, I don't want to name names at this point, but that has a reach, because we are downstate and Western New York, that has a reach across the state, so that all avenues of our membership can have a more direct relationship with what we're doing.
Thanks so much, Mary. We'll be back with more after these commercials. What advice? I love the story of the woman who started the shoe business. What advice in general would you give to anyone that's thinking of starting a business, especially a woman?
Persistence. I think it's true for everybody, but persistence. I've worked with a startup venture for about the last 5 or 6 years, and it all happens to be a shoe manufacturing company, but it's using 3D technology. But she's ahead of the curve on using technology to measure people's feet, and so that the shoes can be made to your specifications. But it has been very difficult for her to get funding. And that's a piece I think you really have to look at. How do you want to go about funding your business? Do you want to be able to do it yourself? Do you want to borrow money, or do you want to have an investor? When you do certain things, you give up some of your autonomy if you use an investor, but then you can move ahead. But it's challenging for women. And there's actually several women's organizations that have started that are angel networks that are specifically for women and smaller organizations, smaller women businesses, and to give them opportunities because they present things in a different way. And I can use the shoe company, the 3D shoe company. It was a difficult concept for the male investors to understand. And because it was for female feet, and these are only for female right now, but this can, once it gets beyond a certain point, it can be for anybody. But they didn't understand that it was hard for them to see that women would want fashion shoes that are fit and comfortable.
How do you see the future of manufacturing? What is that perspective that you have? These are huge, complex issues right now with the trading, very difficult environment right now to be able to really see the problems that we are having with supply chains right now, significant delays and all that. So what's the future? What do you think? And no one has a crystal ball, but I want to hear your opinion, Mary, because you really opened my head around this thing.
So this is my envelope. This is supposed to be an envelope, and I go, Carmack predicts. I don't know if you remember Johnny Carson or not, but he would put they would go, the question is, and he predicts. So, I think this is a very opportune time for manufacturing. People are waking up to the fact that, we had the shortages and issues around having enough supplies for hospitals, et cetera, because we're relying so much on China. The National Trade Policy Group I work with is really focused on how we use our supply chains and how we get our stuff back here, because we were in trouble because we relied so much on China. And so I think people are starting to see this, and it's going to take, I honestly think it's going to take a groundswell, which may be happening at this point, because we've become so policy bound and so regulated that it's sort of taken out of the hands of people sometimes, and people can be very creative and really think when they're not. Oh, I'm going to say hamstrung. Sorry, hamstrung with a lot of extraneous policies and laws and regulations. Not that they shouldn't be there, because there's some good ones, but sometimes we get carried away with them, and that keeps us. It shoots our foot before, instead of really helping us. So, but I think people are really wanting to do this. I see the opportunities. People are grabbing opportunities and using them to grow, because we were shifting, and so I'm an optimist. So I think in the long run we'll be okay. Well, it's going to change, and the opportunities will grow, and manufacturing will come back.
That's a very profound answer, and it's profound because it really symbolize a lot of the elements of women and leadership and the capacity to be able to really transform many things. And thank you for that answer. It's very, very powerful. So Mary, people who wants to get involved with your organization, how they should be calling you or connecting. So if you can please tell the people, the audience, how they can get connected, how they can get involved with your organization.
Well, I think probably the easiest thing, because we don't have a little whiteboard or anything, but if they look up women in manufacturing online on Google, or Google it, they will get to the national site, and they talk about how to become a member, and then there's a place for all the states, and you can go and find New York State and plug in and see what's going on and join the membership. You really join the national, and then you're part of the chapter. But you don't have to be a national member to be part of the chapter. But if you're going to get involved, you join nationally, and then you continue to participate locally. So I would say go to Women in Manufacturing online and Google it, and you can follow all the directions there. I believe our names are in they are in the contact people are in our site on the New York State site, on the site that's there on the national website. So that's the best way to do that.
Excellent. Well, Mary, thank you very much. We really have learned a lot. This is you have brought a lot of hope for us, because I think we need manufacturing. We need manufacturing in upstate New York. We need people like you who are investing in others and growing others. And we need more jobs, more opportunities. Be able to diversify is essential. And what a wonderful thing to bring opportunities for women in an industry that I think gradually will change and will have the more involvement with powerful women like you. Thank you again. This was really an honor to have you again in our show.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate being able to talk to you about all the wonderful things that are going on. And I wish you both the best as you go forward.
Coming up next week on Be Inspired, we'll meet Fred and Sam Gonzalez and hear about their brand new Disrespectful hot sauce made right here in Rochester.
To watch today's episode and the complete interviews of our guests, go to rochesterfirst.com/beinspired. For more great talk with Rochester's entrepreneurs, listen to Boded 97.1 Saturdays at 9 a.m. For Mauricio Riveros, I'm Julio Saenz. We'll see you next week on Be Inspired.